Welcome back to another episode of Sound Pals Go to the Movies. Today, I'll be reviewing the movie The Fall Guy. So just a fair warning, there's going to be spoilers up ahead, so you've been warned. A down-and-out stuntman must find the missing star of his ex-girlfriend's blockbuster film. So let's begin with my first pro. So during my showing, before the movie started, Ryan Gosling and the director, David Leitch, were shown on screen praising all the stuntmen and women who are behind the scenes that make every movie, even though it's a dangerous job. But I also like that they let the audience know that the director was a stuntman himself before he was a director. So with that little trivia, it shows that he himself wanted to shine light on the stunts. Next pro. This movie is also based on an old TV show by the same name. Also, the actor who played Colt in that series was none other than Lee Majors, or Steve Austin, the $6 Million Man himself. Also, he does make a cameo in the end with Heather Thomas, his co-star from that old series. So back on track. That series revolved around Colt being a stuntman by day and then also a bounty hunter when work was slow. I did not know about that series, but once I began to look into it, I do recall watching a few rerun episodes back in the day, but never thought to look into it. I just remember changing channels and watching action and leaving it there. But that was a nice connection and a throwback. Next pro. Emily Blunt, who played Jodie, and Ryan Gosling, who played Colt, both had amazing chemistry on screen that makes you feel like, they do get along. But they did have a little bit of that little couple acting to be upset at each other, but still cared for each other vibe, which really sold the movie, I have to admit, to the point that you are actually cheering for them and want it to work out and last even after the film is done. Because imagine if you had two stars you are watching and they don't have that spark between them, then you don't get invested in the story, and that is the glue that is supposed to keep you tied to your chair. The action scenes are to show how far Colt will go for Jodie, and I gotta say, it does work. The rest of the cast was just there to keep everything moving forward, but yeah, Winston Duke did stand out in his role and made that friendship between his character, Dana, and Colt work, especially when they did the movie lines and the other had to name the film. Next pro. The whole thing about a film being a film inside a film and it revolving around the stuntman and up-and-coming director, but also being based on a real TV show from back in the day by the same name. But then there's the fact about the real movie director who was a real stuntman before and now moved up to be a director. It all seems made up, but somehow it is all real and actually rather fits nicely. Also, the part in the credits when they showed all the stunts and the faces behind those stunts, it really seemed like another mini feature shining light on that sort of job. I am a fan of the documentary Red Trousers, The Life of a Hong Kong Stuntman, which is a documentary that follows the history of martial arts stuntmen from Hong Kong and has big names that went from stuntmen to actual directors to big name actors in most of those Asian films. So just dropping that name of that movie here in case you want to see more stories about stuntmen, then look this movie up. Last pro was the song choices. They were oldies but goodies, and they did fit with Colt's character and also Jodie's character. And I would imagine that's the kind of playlist they have or the songs they would pick at karaoke. Now on to my cons. Right off the bat would be that I kept seeing the trailers and saw some scenes in the trailers that were cut out of the actual movie. I really wanted to see those on the big screen, and then they are not there. They were cut out. I really felt I was let down, so I know it can't be helped because since the film is being edited for the final film, they have to put out trailers. And yeah, some of the scenes that are being used in trailers might end up on the cutting room floor. But man, sometimes those scenes are what sells the film to audiences, and I felt I needed to see them. Next con, the film did seem to be coming to an end in the last part when Colt was being chased in the boat, and I said, okay, this would be a decent ending, a sad one, but it does play into the love sacrificing story thing they were going for. But then it said, just a second, there's more. I mean, a bit more. But by the time it felt as if the ride was close to a full stop, it started back up again. And by this time, it had lost its momentum. But the ending was a better package deal and a happy one at that versus what I thought would be the sad ending with the sacrifice, but in the name of love, which I am aware it was like Jodie's dilemma in her actual movie ending that she was going for. And also the studio wanted her to go with another ending. But bottom line for me, I still don't know how to feel about that sudden break check in the movie. Next con, having Lee Majors and Heather Thomas do that short cameo and not even elaborate or name drop the series or even a joke and hoping the audience would somehow connect the dots together wasn't even there. You are dealing with a new generation that don't even know about cassette tapes. So what makes you think they will be like, yep, that's Lee Majors from the old series, The Fall Guy? It doesn't work that way. You need to feed them and lead them to it. Even I had to do my research about this, and I gotta say, I knew who Lee Majors was. He's Steve Austin for me. But the new generation needs something more. Maybe Ryan's character getting ready for a stunt and Lee Majors comes in and gives him some pointers and for them to go back and forth like, sir, I got this. I'm the Fall Guy. And Lee comes back saying, wait, I thought I was the original Fall Guy. And then they just shrug it off and then Lee Majors falls out of frame. I mean, something to bridge the generational gap would be nice. Next con, one action scene that took me out of the vibe was when Jodie was singing karaoke and Colt being in the fight scene with the dump truck. I gotta say, it had some parts that I had to question if they were even finished. I can still see some of the traces of green screen or the overlay there. Compared it to the other action scenes like the boat explosion, the helicopter jump, or the car roll, it all seems they didn't have enough budget for this longer scene than the others. If anything, cut it short so the errors are minimal on screen time, because every time it went from Jodie to Colt, it was hard for me to keep watching. So my grade for the movie is going to be a 7 out of 10. Love story was there, not as strong, but the action scenes are the ones that show how far Colt would go for Jodie, and that is nice. Also, nice message from the director to show off all the behind the scenes people behind the stunts. Also, really nice to see Mr. $6 Million Man as a cameo, but kind of felt short connecting him with the actual original series Fall Guy. That was kind of a bummer. So the acting between Ryan and Emily, they had chemistry, which actually sold the film and made it fun. But again, if you want to see a documentary about stuntmen, go seek Red Trousers. It is a good watch. Just ignore that kind of part where they try to make a movie inside that movie as well. So that does it for this review of Fall Guy. Please join us next time where we're going to review If.
I'm an if. Get it? Imaginary friend. Our kids grew up, so we need new ones.
Please like, comment, and subscribe. You can find our social media links below. And like always, keep watching movies.